Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Devasia mentality with a new Let's Play of Sonic Advance. Pause for dramatic effect. 2! Sequel to the first Sonic Advance, and this has been a good while coming. In fact, it's been a very long while coming. So long that, unfortunately, I am going to not be playing this on the normal difficulty mode. I don't care what anyone says about me for doing so. I had enough trouble trying to record this for the past couple of months. But anyway, from the beginning, we have Sonic and several other characters that we can't select. But since we do have Sonic, we do have a way to begin, and here we go! Sonic Advance 2, Leaf Forest Act 1. Sonic, it's your basic 2D Sonic experience, except with some new maneuvers. For instance, that air dash maneuver that you just saw. Also, he can do, all the characters, in fact, can do these R button maneuvers by pressing a button while jumping off of a ramp or a spring. And the R button at the same time, you can do a maneuver that allows you to make a quick motion in that particular direction. Also, you may notice that I'm picking up these ring things that are a little bit different from the regular rings around here. Oh, and I'm also going into boost speed. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is a pre-recorded post-commentary LP, for the record. In case it wasn't obvious from some of my initial statements. So trying to keep on top of everything that's going on is going to be a little bit troublesome yeah. Furthermore, it's going to be a little bit difficult to keep on top of things, but that was the first act of Leaf Forest done, having collected 7 SP rings throughout the act. That allows me access to a special stage. Special stages are kind of interesting in this game. Unlike it's still basically the run around collecting rings sort of thing, but it's an open field, like one great big square. And your objective is to collect 300 rings whilst avoiding something that's chasing you around the entire place. Now, in order to get 300 rings is is entirely up to you, but it's a bit tricky in that same respect. You know, there's a whole bunch of rings just scattered around in certain lines, but in order to get the most out of the rings that you collect, you have to actually collect strings, like rows of rings, like collect certain 3, then collect 2, and you'll get a multiplier. The more times you do that, the more multipliers you get. The multipliers will multiply the amount of rings that you get from every time that you pass another ring. So if you have a 2 times multiplier, picking up 1 ring is now 2 rings, and picking up the 5 rings becomes 10 rings. That is, assuming you can hold on to these multipliers long enough. Because that's a little bit of a tricky thing, is being able to do that and getting a hold of as much rings as possible. You're also under a time limit, in case I hadn't mentioned that. But we have the 300 ring quota. And yes, the robot that's chasing us around, that's Zero from Sonic Adventure. Making a return in this game just to be the irritation that is, well, accompanied in these special stages here. And if he does catch you, you will lose rings, but this is early on. It's not very likely he's going to, so long as you keep running around the track. In fact, I could say that for pretty much all the stages, but if you want to... In general, if you want to get your bearings on where all the rings are, it's not a good idea to try and stop and do that with him chasing you around.
2, 1, go!
But with that complete, we now move on. And I should also mention that the SP ring quota, the SP ring stuff, that's just another one of the most irritating things about Sonic Advance 2. Like in Sonic Advance 1, where the special stages were all hidden via special springs that were in very specific acts, and you could only get one very specific Chaos Emerald from each one. Sonic Advance 2 follows suit. You can only get the first Chaos Emerald from Leaf Forest, regardless of which act you collect all the SP rings in, and so on and so forth with each subsequent zone. So if I were to collect all the SP rings here, I would still get the first Chaos Emerald. But yeah, back into the subject of boost speed. Unlike later Sonic games, boost speed is not given to you at the whim of a button press. You actually have to continue running for a good amount of time before the game will enter boost mode. And when you are in boost mode, you go really dang fast, but we're not going to be able to show that off right now because we're in the middle of a boss fight with Dr. Eggman and another one of his hammer tanks. He also seems to have this little girl captive in one hand. That's interesting. And also, we are constantly running as part of these boss battles. It's gonna be a running theme, ha ha ha, throughout this game that you chase down the bosses. Oh, hi. But we defeated Eggman and we rescued the girl that he was holding captive. Wow, you're the famous Mr. Sonic? No. Thank you very much for saving me. What a polite girl. See you later and don't get caught again. Oh, wait a minute. Mom's still in trouble. I need to go help her. And so you can now play as Cream the Rabbit, her debut game, Sonic Advance 2. So let's get a good look at her. And of course, this is another element of me doing post-commentary LP in this pre-recorded stuff. You obviously can't switch between characters on a whim like this. Well, I say obviously, but I would like to hope that it's fairly obvious. But yes, Cream the Rabbit, she basically functions like Sonic or any other character would, which, ow. Okay. She can spin dash, she can fly to a certain extent, much like Tails, although, unlike Tails, she can't fly nearly as long. Which is going to be a bit of a problem, but ultimately, she does have a few things that offset some of the hindrances that accompany her, such as cheese. The press of the B button and she can send cheese out to destroy whatever enemy stands in her path. Now, there is a little bit of a cool-off period. You can't just cheese to all cheesitude. Because, you know, it'll be a couple of seconds after you've had cheese attack one thing before you can have it attack another thing. But at the same time, that's not really much of a hindrance. That little Chow partner of yours is definitely going to be one heck of an asset in this game, especially later on once we start fighting some bosses. As far as dealing with actual stage hazards, he can be a little bit handy, but considering the design of this game that encourages you to basically run around at the speed of sound, not a care in the world, just go. You're probably going to be more focused on just running around, as I said, and avoiding obstacles rather than trying to attack them with your Chow companion. Especially at these speeds, I mean, holy cow. But yeah, boost speed. been trying to talk about this, but I really like how the boost speed functions in this particular game compared to how it's handled in later titles. Because, you know, one of the great things about playing Sonic the Hedgehog in classic form is being rewarded for being fast by... Speed is rewarded by skill. Or, you know, in classic Sonic to a degree, you know, if you know how to go through the levels and gain enough speed in order to go as fast as you can actually go some pretty blazing speeds just by being skilled enough to know where to jump, how to do stuff. And I like how this game uses the boost to enhance that rather than being this thing that you just get because you hit an enemy or something along the way or are collecting rings. That's just the thing that I dislike about one of several things that I dislike about the boost as it would be featured in later games is that at the press of a button, it just doesn't feel as good. Also, the fact that while you're boosting, you're basically invulnerable. So, what's the point? Zero by zero. Yeah, no matter how many times you hit him, you're not going to be able to destroy him. You can slow him down, stop him on the place for about a moment, but he will keep chasing you all over the board. But yeah, I like the boost in this game conceptually. The way it's used, especially in this particular type of game, does feel, well, not quite as shallow as it would be in later Sonic games. Does follow some of the issues that I have in terms of general level design, especially when it comes to collecting the SP rings, because, you know, the game is designed around you going as fast as you can using the boost function in order to get from place to place real quickly at blazing high speeds. Meanwhile, you have to keep your eye out for SP rings, and you have to collect. There are exactly 7 SP rings in any given stage, and you have to be on the lookout for them. Problem is, playing the game normally, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to collect all 7 special... You know, I'm not even going to say unlikely. I'm just going to say, no, you're not going to get all 7 SP rings your first time playing it the way this game sort of encourages you to play, which is to go blazing fast. Also, here's an interesting thing. There are no idle animations in this game, but there are up animations. Cream's pretty cute. She gets out an ice cream cone and tries to eat it while she's doing that. But it's also kind of irritating because it means when you press up on the D-pad in order to look up or look down or whatnot, nothing happens, just that cute little animation. And I'm sure most people aren't exactly missing it, but considering the things that you're likely to run into in this game without seeing them first, it does kind of bother me that they replaced idle animations with those up animations. But yeah, as far as collecting SP rings with the game's mentality, you know, this going fast, zipping by at high speeds across rails and whatnot, being sprung around or hitting dash panels. Like, I'm just playing the stage to my leisure right now, going through a lot of loops and whatnot, but, you know, I have not hit a single SP ring. No, the SP rings are definitely some brain teasers, and with the sort of design mentality and the issues of backtracking in levels like this... Whoops! Okay, I was trying to demonstrate the difference in attack patterns when you're going at boost speed, because when you're going at boost speed, sometimes your attacks will change, such as Chi is becoming more of a shield rather than an actual offensive attack. And that goes down another boss. All thanks to cheese, cheesing the heck out of it. But I think we've seen enough of Crane the Rabbit and her Chow companion Cheese for now. Get it? Cream, cheese. Someone was hungry when they wrote this. But we're going back to Sonic for now, because we're going into the next level, and an interesting thematic level, I think, altogether. Music Plant. I like the design. I like the design aesthetic of this. This is not something that you see much of in Sonic the Hedgehog, if at all. Running around on musical instruments and musical notes. Stupid monkey. Yeah. Sonic doesn't have his somersault, but he does have the slide in this game. Not something that I get much use out of, but I'm sure there are some points where it is possible to use that. But going back to Sonic Generations 3D, the handheld version, Sonic Generations was kind of an awkward fit for the things that it did for, you know, that sort of anniversary title, and it kind of bothers me that they didn't go handheld levels all the way. Rather, they had mostly just standard base stages from the main series titles and then went handheld for the last couple of levels, and that just doesn't sit well with me personally. But if they had gone handheld out all the way and they had picked from some stages from the Sonic Advance titles, I can see Music Plant being the representative for Sonic Advance 2. That or maybe Hot Crater, I don't know. Which was the last level that we just went through. Or Techno Base? Again, there's a few. This would be my personal selection if it had been in Generations 3DS, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, all sorts of things you can say, and I'm just saying I do like the design of this level. But yeah, trying to find the SP rings in any given stage of this game requires you to defy logic to a certain degree. At least standard go forward down this specific path logic. You do have to sort of cross back and forth, make turnarounds every once in a while in order to find all the SP rings, which is, you know, with a game that's focused around going fast rather than exploration, is kind of counterintuitive. Which is one of many things that I find very polarizing about this. It's just like, I'm glad that I have another 2D classic style Sonic game with some improved mechanics and whatnot, and I can actually run around doing things like collecting special rings in order to get access to these sort of things. But unfortunately, everything about the entire system of collecting SP rings is counterintuitive and illogical as far as I'm concerned. It's just like, okay, you want me to go fast, you're encouraging me to go fast, and you're making backtracking a problem because you don't want me to backtrack. You want me to go fast. Explorative nature. At the same time, you still want me to explore to get the SP rings. And it's not like it's not possible so long as you memorize the very specific route where SP rings will be found, but it just... Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to actually do this, you know? But, I don't know. It just does not work for me, personally. You know, I like being able to have a game where the speed and pace is moderate enough that I can sort of move around at my own pace, but this game's design mentality says, go fast, go fast, go fast. I should also mention that while I'm collecting the Chaos Emeralds here in this special stage, you may have noticed that I had, you know, trying to keep my thoughts straight here, and I don't want to repeat myself. And I'm sorry about that, but that's the problem that comes from having a post-commentary Let's Play, is that I have to think on my feet a lot more than if I were doing this live. Alright. The thing about Chaos Emeralds in this game, you may have noticed that when I played as Cream the Rabbit, when I collected the blue Chaos Emerald, I already had the red Chaos Emerald. You're probably assuming that this is like the previous game, so long as you collect the Chaos Emerald with one character, it goes into the same pool. That's another reason why this is a post-commentary Let's Play, though, because that's not actually the case. I actually had to go out of my way to collect the first Chaos Emerald again as Cream, because unfortunately, collecting the Chaos Emeralds, as if it wasn't problematic enough that you had to collect the SP rings and get to the end of a stage, and you can only collect one Chaos Emerald after you complete the bonus stage. And it's the one Chaos Emerald that's associated with that zone, rather than being able to, you know, collect them one after another like you would in other classic Sonic titles. But there's also the problem is that while you do keep the Chaos Emeralds that you collect, you only keep them as the character that you collected them with. So if I had not collected the first Chaos Emerald with Cream after I had done so with Sonic, then Cream wouldn't have that first Chaos Emerald. So I went and did that all over again, and of course, because I'm playing this on an emulator, I did take advantage of certain aspects of what you can do with emulators. Judge me all you want, I do not care. This game is very polarizing, but one thing that I definitely dislike about it is how much of your time it will waste with this arbitrary stuff. Having to collect all the Chaos Emeralds with one character, and then another character, and then another character. And we'll get into why you would even have to do that at around the end of the game, because there is a purpose to it. In the meantime, since I already got the Chaos Emerald associated with Music Plant, not gonna bother with trying to find all the SP rings in this stage. Just getting on with it. And of course, one thing I should note about the boosts in this game compared to later Sonic the Hedgehog titles is that once you achieve boost speed, well, of course, you're just going fast. That doesn't mean automatically that you're going to smash through anything in your way. So if you run into something while in boost speed, you will take a hit. So you either have to curl up into a ball to avoid taking hits and damaging things that will damage you if you run into them without rolling up into a ball or whatnot. And of course, while doing that, you have to assert whether or not you're going to end up losing speed by doing so. And it's just, again, I like the boosts in this because it's an extension of classic gameplay without completely altering the formula. Now, it would probably work a lot better in a game where, like in the boost games, you can actually see what's ahead of you and be better prepared for it. Which is why it's so polarizing in this game, and so polarizing in general that later 3D Sonic games didn't follow suit with this version of the boost. But whatever. We just beat a boss and saved our friend Tails from it. Thanks, Sonic! What's with your eye? Eggman just came out of nowhere! Eggman! What's he plotting this time? I gotta hurry. See ya, Tails. Huh? Sonic, wait for me! Yeah, that's one thing about this game, is that as you play through it, specifically as Sonic, you unlock the rest of your buddies. But we'll get a bit more into that on the next episode of Let's Play Sonic Advance, because we're at the end of this particular one, so thank you all for watching. I have a Discord and Twitter and Instagram, all things you can follow up in the description. RCFS and out.